完璧などありえない。この世界は不完全だから美しい。もう
バカ何？俺は海賊王になる。なんて恋しさなの。
力を渡した時に言ったことを覚えているかい？くれ。違う、そこじゃない。
変態。遅い。
Hello and welcome to More Than Hentai, a podcast that is here to show you that anime is far more than tentacles and catgirls. There's also countless stories of love, loss, laughs, hope, horror and happiness that are just dying to be found. And I, Brendan White, the Salt and Pepper Senpai, am here to help you find them. More Than Hentai is proudly powered by 8-Bit and those sexy audio-based legends over at Audio-Technica. Do yourselves a favour and upgrade your audio game today. And joining me on this episode is none other than my favourite otaku, a man who's been my partner in crime for close to 2 decades. You've seen him or heard of him sprinkled through countless pieces of 8-Bit related content over the years, and his viewing pleasures are as vast and varied as they are the life that he's lived. With a few notable favourites being Black Clover, Neon Genesis Evangelion, Demon Slayer, and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, to name but a few. You can find him on the socials at Ben McJ. Mr. Ben McJanet, welcome to the Riverside studio. How might you be doing, my friend?
I'm pretty good, brother. How you doing, man?
I am doing very well. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, whether it be on or off a microphone. And here we're going to be coming together, be talking about some of our favourite things, and that is anime.
Man, I'm so glad that I kept pestering you for so long. And this is before you moved to Melbourne and everything like that. And like, man, you just jump into some My Hero Academia, man. Just put on a little bit of Demon Slayer or something like that. You'll love it. You'll have a great time. Eventually, I think I might have been me, might have been NATO as well, maybe even a bit of Dane as well. Like we've worn you down. You jumped in, and now you're a senpai. You're fully engrossed in the medium, and I'm happy to see you loving it.
Yeah, I truly cannot get enough, and it was through your persistence, and NATO and Dane, I think you were the 3 probably primary drivers a few years ago that really kicked my butt and pushed me back into the anime world, because I grew up pretty immersed and engrossed in this fantastic genre, but took a few years off and went out into the literal wilderness, and now I'm back and cannot get enough. So it's through yourself and the rest of the fantastic crew that we associate with that's I guess created and made this podcast come to life, that is more than hentai, more than hentai even, I should say.
It's called hentai and it's art.
It is very much art.
I love that quote from The Office. But yeah, no, I'm really, really glad. And I hope we can do multiple episodes together on this as well, because there's plenty of, and this is the thing, you and I very, very often back and forth on anime recommendations. It's, hey, have you seen this? Have you checked this out? Or just little clips of reels or YouTube shorts or whatever, back and forth between each other. We're constantly sending each other little bits and pieces on anime, which is fun as well, and exposes us to a lot more out there in the wider anime universe.
And there's so much, and the good thing is, I think our tastes are probably as closely aligned as just about anyone I know that consumes anime. I think 9 out of 10 times, if you recommend something or I do, we'll both usually have a same level of appreciation and love for said recommendation. So we'll see how we go with tonight's episode, that's for sure. But I guess on the anime front, maybe we can get a little bit of your backstory when it comes to anime. What's your history with this fantastic medium? Maybe let us know about things you might love or hate with the genre, and then we can sort of narrow that lens in about the show in question we're talking about as well.
Yeah. So my history, I suppose it really stems from my older brother. He was much older than me. There's a 13-year age gap between myself and him. And he is not my oldest brother. My oldest brother's 16-year gap, so do the maths on that one. But my older brother Simon, he introduced me to anime. I think anime proper, I should say, because I remember watching cartoons in the 80s that was basically anime for kids, but realistically it stemmed from adult anime originally. And the ones I'm talking about are Battle for the Planets. Battle of the Planets? Whichever
I
one
think
it
it's
is.
Battle of the Planets. It's
Yeah,
hazy.
but
I haven't thought
pretty
about
sure,
it for decades.
yeah. I'm pretty sure the original was called Gotcha Man as well. Which, you look at it and design-wise, it's very, Japanese anime style and all that sort of stuff. But I remember watching that as a kid and I loved it. Transformers. I'm a massive Transformers fan. Again, Japanese animation, all that sort of stuff. And like Voltron, that's the other big one from my childhood, which was originally Go Lion Force in Japan, which they, redubbed and redid as Voltron and things like that. And then they did Voltron Vehicle Force, and there was going to be a third one, but then that got scrapped for some reason. I can't remember what it was. So those are probably my origins with anime, is like in the 80s as a kid. And I still love Voltron. If you haven't watched Voltron on Netflix, go watch it. It's really, really good.
I was very surprised by how good it was.
It's so good.
Yeah, I expected it to be a bit of a watered down sort of hollow version of the original, but it was really, really well done. The animation's fantastic. The story's great.
Yeah, the more time you give it, the better it gets. It just gets so much better as it goes on. Some of the people didn't like the ending of the series, the finales and things like that. I actually really enjoyed it, and I felt like it wrapped everything up spectacularly. So there's 6-7 seasons of that on Netflix, so go give that a watch.
Hell yeah.
That said, moving into the 90s, so I'm trying to remember what it was, but I remember my brother Simon again, for mine and my younger brother's birthdays, he would always give us a VHS tape of stuff that he like double recorded onto it and things like that for us. And I remember getting one which had Fist of the North Star on it.
Ooh, yes.
Which is...
Shout out to Simon for giving you the goods.
Yeah, he really, really brought the hype for me for anime. I really need to go back and watch this film too, Fist of the North Star, because it is baller. I just thought of another one, Robotech. I remember watching Robotech as a kid. And like the Macross Saga and all those sorts of things. And then there was the Robotech with the motorbikes, which was another rip-off of another anime from Japan. And my brother Simon as well, bringing the goods, with another one of these birthdays. It must have been when I turned like 13 or 14, I want to say. So we're talking like 95, 96, 97 sort of era. One of the videos had a anime which is probably more on the hentai side of things, called Wicked City on it.
Oh, that is
seen
very
that
spicy for a young set of eyes to be watching.
I hit puberty very quickly watching that.
Yeah, Wicked City and like Legend of the Overfiend, those two movies were eye openers.
And there's another one that's like Demon City or something as well. Like there's Wicked City and Demon City, I'm pretty sure it is, and like, two different films, but both of them. Oh boy.
Wicked City just dropped on Crunchyroll here for Australian listeners. Yeah. It dropped in the last week or so. I saw it pop up on the recently added, and I'm like, ooh, am I going back to sexually awaken again in my 30s? So who knows?
It's a pretty confronting film for a young 13-year-old boy, I can tell you that. But also around that time in 97, a little anime that kind of blew, just broke down barriers across the world in terms of getting out there. Neon Genesis Evangelion came out in 97, and I remember watching it when it was first airing on SBS.
That's when I was watching it too. Like, it'd drop on like a late night on a Friday, I think, if I can remember.
Yeah, it was something like, I just remember randomly flicking through channels and going, oh, cool, anime. And I didn't even know it was the first episode. I just happened to tune in like maybe 5 minutes into the first episode. And I started watching it, and I'm like, this is awesome. And then I just watched it every week. And like I made sure I didn't miss it every week. It was really, really, really good. And I loved it, except for the ending, which obviously everyone can talk about the ending to the series.
Yeah.
And then being in Australia and internet sucking and not really having any way to gain access to it, I didn't really get to see the movies probably till much later than what I really wanted to. But like that's pretty much what my anime, like 14 years old, watching Neon Genesis Evangelion as it's coming to air on TV. The pilots in that are 14 years old, and me being a big lover of mecha anime with Robotech, Transformers, Voltron, all those sorts of things, it was just like, I could be a 14-year-old pilot. That's how my brain worked at the time as well. I just got so excited for that sort of thing and fell head over heels in love with the series. Oscar is still my number one waifu. Don't at me.
That's fine. I'm never going to yuck your yum, that's for sure. And yeah, that's an excellent waifu selection there. And it still holds up. Like, I've started rewatching the original Evangelion series at the moment because it's on Netflix. Netflix has got a great anime roster. They continue to build it out with old and new stuff, drop it on there. And Evangelion, even though the aspect ratio changes on your telly, the animation quality is not as good as some of the current day stuff. It is still phenomenal storytelling. Really, really great themes that they sort of navigate throughout the episodes, and it's weirdly relatable in some aspects, and it's just a great concept. The ending, we can talk about that another time, but overall it's such a special franchise. I
would love to get an original release of the DVDs or something like that, mostly because I know the Netflix, they redubbed it again, and there's changes in the script, and I've seen especially the first few episodes that many times over and over and over and over again that it's burnt into my memory a certain way. And when I watched it and it was a different voice actor for Shinji and a different voice actor for Masato, it felt wrong to me and I couldn't watch it. I just couldn't watch it. I really, really wanted to rewatch the whole series, and for me it just felt wrong and I just couldn't. And I'm not going to take anything away from it. People that have watched it now have come away saying that they love it and it's great and everything, and it holds up as a story, but for me, just trying to rewatch it now is just one of those things where it's just like, it doesn't feel the same as what I remember it, so I can't rewatch it because I don't have that original dubbing or the original subtitles or anything like that either.
And that's fair enough. Like, because you've got such a strong emotional connection to this franchise, you know those vocal deliveries in and out. You know the tone and the cadence of how they speak. And then when you hear another person playing that exact same role, it's just so jarring. So I completely understand where you're coming from. It's
like, and this is probably a really bad metaphor, but it's like looking at the special edition of Star Wars in the 90s and things like that, and the added scenes and the changes and things like that. And it's like, a lot of it wasn't really too big a deal. Like, I think they did a fantastic job with Empire Strikes Back when they remastered that. In comparison, though, to New Hope and like the musical number in Return of the Jedi, on the other hand, like that's a different story. It's the same sort of like vibe. It's like, it's still a media I love, but it's just not the same. Yeah.
Well, just jump online. Keep hunting like Facebook Marketplace, Gumtree. There might be an OG kicking around somewhere.
OG DVD box set I would love. I still need to watch, what is it, 3.0 plus 1.0, the remake movie, the last remake movie, which apparently wraps the whole thing up in a nice, neat little bow. I don't know. Part of me, I think maybe I'm procrastinating watching it because I just don't.
You don't want that finality.
I don't want it to end. No, I like having, and like I've watched like Death and Rebirth and End of Everything and all that, blah blah blah. But yeah, there's just something about it that's like I don't know. Maybe I'm procrastinating because I just don't want it to end.
I haven't watched the full ending, like the film yet, and that's why I've started rewatching it, because I'm like, I need to close this loop off and see how it finally plays out. So I'm going right back from the beginning, working all the way through.
Okay, so you're going to watch all of the series plus the movies and then go onto Prime and watch the remake stuff as well?
I think so. I think, and the speed at which I consume content, I can make that happen.
You'll knock that in a week.
Yeah, so I'll have the first season, or the only season, wrapped up probably in the next 24 hours, and then I'll shift into the movies.
Sure.
Yeah, but let's narrow this lens, and for listeners that are new here at More Than Hentai, the way this show works is based off some pre-qualified questions and talking to Benny here. I recommend an anime that he's yet to watch, and then we go away and we watch the first episode, and then we jump back on the podcast here and we unpack that episode and see if it's a solid recommendation. We talk the good, the bad, the otherwise, and then see if he might continue watching said anime. So the title in focus for this episode is a little old ditty called Call of the Night, and it is a supernatural rom-com series written and illustrated by Kotoyama. It has been serialized in the Shogakukan's Weekly Shonen Sunday since August of 2019, and it was adapted into an anime series by Leiden Films, notable for doing the 2016 version of Berserk, Other Side Picnic, Tokyo Revengers, as well as the Build Divide series. So we've had 13 episodes drop between July and September of 2022, and for anyone around the world, you can check that out on High Dive. So we've watched this on High Dive. And the story of Call of the Night is as follows. Unable to sleep or find true satisfaction in his daily life, Ko Yamori stops going to school and begins wandering the streets at night. He encounters a girl named Nazuna Nanakusa, a vampire who shows Ko the joys of being a night walker. This results in Ko wanting to become a vampire as well, but in order to achieve his goal, he must first fall in love with her. So, Call of the Night. We have watched the first episode. I rewatched it again this afternoon just to sort of refresh my memory because I watched this whole season at the back end of last year. But Benny, jump on in here. Let me know your initial thoughts. Let me know your impressions on the characters, the animation, the soundtrack. Give me the play-by-play on what you think or what your thoughts and feelings are regarding Call of the Night.
Style-wise, this anime is stunning.
Ooh, yeah.
That is probably my first takeaway. The number of times, and the city is a character in itself as well. I can't remember. Did they actually say that it's in Tokyo?
They do mention Tokyo.
They do mention Tokyo? Okay.
I don't know if it's in the episode 1, but it's certainly referenced in the other episodes. So
yeah. Anyway, so the city and the lighting and the shots of stars and clouds and things like that. That was probably my first impression of the animation, and the backdrop was just stunning.
And that's what I wrote in my first note for the rewatch as well. Like, I just wrote, the animation style is so goddamn slick. Like Leiden Films who put this together. I wasn't too familiar. Like, there's a few franchises I mentioned there. I'm working my way through the latest season of like Tokyo Revengers at the moment, which has got a cool style, but it's nothing in comparison to Call of the Night. Like, not only are these backdrops like super detailed in just about every shot, but the way they use lighting and neon and, like you said, like the stars and just the general night sky, it's so pretty and it's just so dreamlike and ethereal all the time, and I live for it.
Yeah, it's really, really, really pretty. And then and we're only going to talk first episode here, but the character design as well for Ko and Nazuna, just really, really strong character design. And then, like, it obviously... Oh, the other thing that I picked up very early on as well, banger opening track.
Yes, that was my next note. Yeah. Like, Creepy Nuts, they do the intro and the outro track, and I've fallen in love with this band. Like, I listen to them on Spotify on the reg because they have just got
banger opening
after
banger ending themes. But yeah, like just the character design, and you get that sort of the opening itself actually, like, it shows the strength of the animation team as well. And using those character designs within that animation, and then like the lyrics, and granted they're in kanji and katakana as they're going across the screen, but it's actually moving with the animation. I don't know if you noticed that, which is really, really cool. So it's just little things like that, and it really it shows where the season can go without giving anything else, because it does show a lot of other characters as well. So the other characters' designs, you get glimpses of them in this opening as well. And yeah, I just found the design and the voice work and everything like that, and the script was really, it was just so strong. So it was very easy, and because this whole first episode, you only got 2 characters to deal with, really. Yeah, it's only the 2 characters. So it's only Ko and Nazuna. We're not going to include the drunks in the characters.
Yeah. We get the broken-hearted girl from school for a split second who announces her love to Ko, and he's like, I don't understand the point of dating or liking or love in general, and sort of just shuns her and breaks her poor little heart. And that was what leads to him not wanting to go to school anymore, because he just doesn't feel like he exists and wants to do it. And
doesn't want anything to do with it, essentially. Just wants to escape life itself. So, so when he's out walking the nights and everything, and I think we've all done this, especially now that, we're older, but usually it's walking home after a night out or whatever, and walking through a city and the streets are quiet and things like that. There is a sense of peace in the city, and it is a different vibe. The city becomes a different beast at night than what it was during the day. I find that the way they've produced and shown this story really, really does capture that really, really well.
Yeah, and I think the city in itself is almost its own character.
Yeah.
Like, because it is so vibrant, and then you do get the contrast of where Ko's walking around and it feels like he's the only person on Earth.
Exactly.
But then you hear the hustle and bustle, or you see the city lights and everything else. And so it's great that there is this sort of silent character in all these scenes with this city that is living and breathing and doing its own thing. But yeah, Ko, he seems like a nice enough kid. Like, he's in year 8, he's 14 years old or so, give or take, and he's walking the streets, just sort of questioning what life is really, and walking along, and you're sort of getting a bit of an inner monologue from Ko, and then he starts wondering, like, he's never had a drink, and he walks past this vending machine, which conveniently sells beer, and he's about to have his first ever drink, and he puts his yen in and pays for his can of beer, and then Nazuna just randomly appears, leaning very sexily and coolly against the vending machine, and then they interact and have a discussion, and sort of the episode goes from there. And it's a really cool first meeting, and like you said, with the animation quality, the way they've sort of framed it, and they've just got these really tight shots with Nazuna, and it's sort of silhouetted, and you can only see some of the finer details on her face, and she looks a little bit scary and imposing at first, and then she takes the hood down from her jacket and just sort of shows her cute self with her pink hair. I love her hairstyle, the sort of floating ringlets or whatever you'd call them.
The braids that are just looped back up.
Yeah, it's so great, and she's such a cool character. Like, I think from what I've looked at, like, she's roughly about 40 years old. Like, she's a vampire, so time has stopped for her. She's probably 21 in look, but she's about 40 in real years these days. And then they meet. And what did you think of that first interaction with Ko and Nazuna?
I think it was really cool because, like, obviously he startled her, and she's like threatening to call the cops on him, but is really just joking. So she's already looking for someone to hang out with and spend time with, essentially, and what she wants. And obviously she's also looking to feed, which we'll get into in a bit. And then she's just trying to get an understanding of what this kid's about, and like, we know as the viewer that she's a vampire. I mean, if you've read the synopsis, you know she's a vampire. And they kind of clue it a little bit too, because you can kind of see the fang a little bit.
The fangs there.
But she, she definitely captures the attention of Ko very, very quickly, and then goes about making her mission to help him and understand the city, because she realizes it's his first night out in the city at night. Especially this late at night, and just, getting to understand how the city works and what the night walking around and being out at night is really like. And then even to teach him a lesson about drinking, goes and introduces him to the drunks.
Yeah, there's 3 drunk, very, very drunk businessmen that are, semi-coherent / passed out on a bench, and they have a little interaction, and Nazuna shows that contrast. You don't want this type of life. Like, drinking and partying's fun, but this is the end of the spectrum you don't want to be at. So it's kind of cool that she's trying to, I guess, get rid of this lack of satisfaction he's got with life, and make him be at peace and enjoy the world again. And she's sort of acting as this cute pink-haired vampiric guide. Yeah,
I just like the one bit though when the guy vomits and freaks Ko out, and she comes back and she's like, and saying something. I can't remember what she was saying, and then she goes, oh, gross. Oh, this is what, this is what you don't want to be, blah, 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 and everything. And then he goes, tells him, like, get home safe and everything. And clean that up. And they're like, oh.
Damn drunkards. Yeah, what did you, we didn't really get introduced to a ton of characters in episode 1, but did you sort of have a favorite? Are you leaning more Team Nazuna or Team Ko, or you just, like, they're both equally great in my opinion, but, like, is there a character you sort of gravitated towards a little more in the first watch?
In the first episode, I was actually a lot more interested in Nazuna, just to find out her background a bit more, who she was and that sort of thing. And obviously, knowing that she's a vampire going into this as well, that she would be, it's more interested in, like, what's the vampire mythology that they're working with, what's the rules that they've set themselves here. So I was kind of interested in all that sort of thing. And then, like, knowing that this is going to be some sort of, love story with elements of horror and things like that in it, like, how does it set itself up to move forward from this initial meeting?
Yeah, it certainly sort of lays a good platform with this first episode, and we'll sort of get to sort of the ending shortly, but, like, it's kind of cool on that vampire mythos where, so after the drunken bum incident, Nazuna's sort of saying, you know what, like, let's keep enjoying tonight, come back to my place, we can hang out. And so she brings him back to her apartment, and she's sort of saying, let's go to sleep. We'll have some more fun tomorrow. We'll do it all again then. So she thinks Ko's fallen asleep, and then that vampiric instinct kicks in, and she's gonna bite him to suck his blood, as vampires do. And so she bites him, gets a taste of his blood, and realizes that it tastes really, really bloody good. So she's sort of taken aback for a second, then she's like, why does he taste so good?
Yeah.
She's processing that. But then Ko, who she thought was asleep, was, like, fake sleeping, and he sort of sat up straight away, and he's like, what's happened here? What's going on? And then she sort of was like, oh, there's a big mosquito, and I slapped it. Like, that's what happened. And then he was like, no, you're full of shit, because I can see blood around your mouth. And so she tells Ko that she's a vampire. He's not very shocked about it all. He's just processing it, just as
he
I
processes
guess you do
it
as
pretty
a cool
well,
sleep-deprived kid.
Until he goes, oh shit, does this mean I'm going to become a vampire? He freaks he just freaks the hell out. That is like, and then we sort of get the ground rules and the setup for how the story's going to progress moving forward. Yeah, so they've sort of come up with their own unique mythos as far as how vampires come to be, and it's vampires can feed on all kinds of people any day, any night, and that's not going to turn them into a vampire. The way it works is that their person that they're feeding on has to fall in love with said vampire to then be able to ascend into a vampire themselves. So it's something different. Like, I was thinking about it, I'm like, I can't really remember watching a movie, a TV show, another anime where it sort of played with that type of concept before. So I thought it was kind of cool that it was a little different. Yeah. So that was sort of my take as well. I was like, oh, okay, so this is different. Because, like, I think majority of people go by... I always look at it as the Anne Rice rules. I don't know if she was the original that came up with these rules, but the where the vampire has to drain you to near death and then you drink the blood back out of the vampire, essentially. That's the rules. I understand it. I can't remember if that was in Bram Stoker's or whatever before. Most of them follow that similar trope where it's they take you to the brink of death, and then typically they'll slice their forearm vein open, or their wrist vein, and then you suck their pure vampiric blood, and that's what turns you. But in this case, there might be a bit of blood exchange going on, but it needs to be under the guise of love. You need to be loving your potential master here. So it's kind of cute. And it's interesting that when Nazuna tells Ko this, I think she sort of says it thinking he's going to freak out and be like, nah, that's never going to happen. You're just welcome to drain me forever. And he's like, you know what? I want to be a vampire. This is what I want to do. This is a great life. We can just, have fun of a nighttime and just live free and,
embrace the vampiric way, and she's a little taken aback and gets very shy, which is kind of cute. So you can sort of see she's still a bit young-minded as well, and gets a little embarrassed that Ko's saying.
Meanwhile, she's been cracking sex jokes and all that throughout too. So
much. Yeah, the just the tip cracked me up when she first sort of says lay down and have a rest. He's like, what is this? Like, are we in a sex house or something? He's like, no, we're just having a sleep. It's just the tip. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Like, there's nothing funky going on here. But it's a cool little new reimagining of the vampiric way, and I'm a sucker for romance, and you love a good romantic story in anime or in real life as well. So I kind of like that it's weaving supernatural and that rom-com writing style together, and it does it really, really well. Like the writing team behind this, good, coupled with the animation, so good.
Yeah. So it really sets the groundwork for just what the season can be. It really does set the groundwork really well. As an opening episode to a series, it's pretty damn good.
Yeah, and there was another cool part in there where she was saying that, like, talking about blood and how it tastes different of a nighttime, and especially when you're sort of in that void area just before you're falling asleep, because that's seen as like your blood is infused with the night, so it's sort of the purest, tastiest form of blood, just as you're getting 40 winks. Yeah, the episode ends with they go up to the top of a rooftop, and Ko sort of saying, yeah, I want to be in this vampire life with you, and then Nazuna kicks him off this roof, and you think, holy shit, what's going on? What did you think in that moment?
I thought something's like, I thought like she's gonna like catch him or something like that. I watched one too many anime or vampire movies, I guess, over the years. So yeah, I was pretty much prepared for. I wasn't expecting for the flight. I'll put it that way, because she does fly down, catches him, and then they go for a fly throughout the city. Which is another gorgeous shot, like beautiful the cityscape background as she's got Cohen in her arms and just flying around. There's just this purple glow throughout, like the night sky and things like that. It's just so pretty, so very, very pretty. And so it just really just capped off the whole episode very, very strongly. Yeah, and I do like that. It's a bit of a role reversal. Like 99% of all vampire content that I've watched over the years, it's always, the male is the vampire saving the girl and whatever, but they've sort of flipped that on its head here, where we've got the female vampiric lead saving the young frail boy and flying him around, holding him in her arms. Like, I kind of like that it was a little bit different in that regard too, instead of just going the usual status quo. Yeah, exactly. I definitely just mixing it up. I'm just racking my brain to think, when was the last time I saw that? And it wasn't really, and it sort of is, but sort of isn't, but like Queen of the Damned, where... great film, by the way. Great film. Rest in peace, Aaliyah. Yeah, I was going to say rest in peace, Aaliyah, but like Aaliyah is obviously the leading Lestat around in that. Also, book nothing like... the movie's nothing like the book. So it's actually encompassing two books, Vampire Lestat and the Queen of the Damned book. So you read them both. So yeah, like I can't think of any other time where that's the female vampires like leading the male and creating this sort of entrapment scenario. Yeah, it's very different, very uncommon, which is kind of cool, because I do love a good fresh retelling of anything. Yeah. It sort of just sticks with you a lot more. Things that stick with you as well is obviously the good and the bad of anything we're consuming. And have you got any sort of key notes? What's sort of your favorite scenes or the high points you had of the episode, and any low points or bad things from the episode you wanted to highlight? Yeah, there's anything like bad necessarily. Like, I already highlighted the drunks, like the conversation with the drunks, and then like Nazuna trying to get Ko out of his shell and all that sort of thing, and just to introduce him to the city. So I think this, like a lot of first episodes in anime series, they're not the strongest of the series. They're just all very much designed to set the stage for a lot of things. Yeah. And you can either walk away going, yep, this is for me, or this is not for me. Or, at least they just have to set that sort of little bit of level of intrigue there for you. And then moving forward from there, where you'll make the decision on to move, to keep watching. But yeah, I'm just racking my brain about this episode. I'm like, there's nothing bad about this episode, and it's incredibly solid start to a series.
It hooked me from the get-go as well.
Yeah, it intrigued me, and I was like, oh, okay, I need to keep watching this. But at the same time, I was like, if it was just on its own, would it, it's not like what's a good example of a first episode anime? Like Attack on Titan. It has you hooked so strong. Or even Demon Slayer, like that first episode of Demon Slayer. It hooks you right from the, as soon as things start really picking up. I don't think this has that moment, and that's because maybe those ones are a little bit more on the action-oriented side, so they're going to have some more intriguing elements there that'll really grab a viewer's attention. But that said, this is a solid foundation for a series.
Yeah, I completely agree. And you mentioning Titan and Demon Slayer, definitely, there isn't there's no massive stakes getting set. There's no big crises or impending doom. You can sort of tell from the opening credits and just the general flow of the show. The tone it's just cruisy. It's just chilling. It's just a good time. There's some drama here and there. There's some laughs, but there is no giant 100-foot titan coming to destroy the world.
Exactly,
it's just a young dude who wants to be in love with a vampire chick.
Exactly.
It's simple, but it's cute, but it's cool. And everything we mentioned is... Yeah, I'm in complete agreement with everything you mentioned, I should say. It's just a fun watch. It's just an easy watch. And the first episode sets the table for what's to come. And here's where I typically say, are you going to continue watching this show? Did I make a worthy selection? But spoilers, listeners, Benny has completed the entire season of Call of the Night since
Certainly
the recommendation.
So that it's actually one of the things as we've been going through the episode, just trying to bite my tongue and not say anything from the later episodes. But yes, I have watched all of it. Without going into spoilers or anything like that, there is a lot more of the same. Again, we mentioned the cast, which you do get glimpses of the cast in the opening credits. So there is more cast that does come along.
Some really cool, memorable characters you meet along the way as well. And especially getting a little bit more of the vampiric lore and learning about some of the other vampires that are in this same ecosystem as Nazuna and co, and their agendas and their feelings on things. So they do sort of build out the world over these 13 episodes.
Yeah. So you can smash it out pretty quick because it is only 13 episodes. But yeah, I have watched all of it. I think I kind of settled around a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
It made it to the 8-bit fine scale. And I think that's not so much and again, if we're just looking at the first episode, I'd rate the first episode maybe an 8.5 out of 10. But if as a whole season, I'm probably leaning more to around that 7 mark. Maybe,
which I think's fair.
Maybe even going a little bit lower on the under 7 as well. At some points.
I think I scored it overall on the old My Anime list. I think I scored it an 8. And I can completely understand where you're coming from saying it could be 7 or underneath, because there is a few little ebbs. There is a few nothing moments, and when it is only a short season at 13 episodes, those nothing moments can sort of stand out more than if it was across a 24-episode season, because you've got less storytelling to do. And I guess the cool thing is the show itself, the 13 episodes, each one of the episodes encompasses just a night in Ko's life. So this whole season plays out over a less than a fortnight of period of his life. So it's kind of cool to see where things go and how the stakes are raised, and the drama and the love and the comedy and everything else sort of weaves in. And it's a cool little world that that Leiden Films have put together there, I think.
Yeah, I agree 100%. My problem with it, and like we said, it does ebb a bit, and I feel like especially after that first episode, there is a bit of a lull, really. So I just found it there's just that little bit of a slow burn, but it didn't feel like a good slow burn. it just felt like just a slow burn. And yeah, so it's little things like that just bring down, and this is more just the storytelling, really. Like the animation quality's fantastic throughout. There are scenes with daylight later on in the season which really stand out because so much of the show, I'd say probably easily 95% of the show takes place at night.
Mm-hmm.
So the scenes where there is daylight really, really do stand out. And there is one black and white section towards the tail end of the season, which is awesome.
Yeah, I know the exact section or piece of the episode you're talking about. And yeah, we're going to obviously keep this all spoiler free, but it is one of certainly the high points of that 13 episode season. There hasn't been any confirmation yet that we are getting a season 2 on the anime on the way. Hopefully we do. It's been pretty well reviewed around the place, and it ended up on a lot of best of 2022 lists as far as new anime entries for the year. So hopefully we get some more Call of the Night moving forward.
Like, I remember seeing it on plenty of best of 2022 lists and things like that as well. And I it's one that I've been interested in watching for a while. It's just being on High Dive. That was probably my only thing that was holding me back, because High Dive is still, let's say, newish in the market in terms of a streaming platform for anime. So it was just one of those things where I was just like, okay, how far do I dive in here before, I need to see a little bit more on that app before I really dive into it. So I'm looking forward to, checking out some more on there now and seeing like Made in Abyss and things like that as well.
Yeah, it's got some very special shows. It's got some very special IPs on High Dive. Like, there is a few that you go, what in the Christ is this? And then you watch it and like it'll finish and go, what in the Christ was that? Like,
that's anime in general, dude.
Yeah, but like not in a good way. It's not as in like that is so weird. It's just
one of the
like,
most popular anime from last year was Chainsaw Man, dude. So like anime's very weird and all over the place, but God, we love it.
We really do. And yeah, High Dive's got some bangers. Like Made in Abyss is there. Is It Wrong to Try and Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon is there. Reincarnated as Sword is on there exclusively. And then there's a heap of other really good shows.
A lot of Lupin on there, I saw.
Yeah, all the Lupin is on there.
Yeah.
That's the home for Lupin. Like, they've picked up some pretty big exclusive IPs. Your boy Kong Ming is on there too, which is my favorite anime of 2022. So you got to peek that now because you got that login.
Sure.
But yeah, so I'm not going to ask will you continue to watch, because you have continued and you've watched it all, and you've given it a score of about a 7 out of 10 or a 70 out of 100 if we're going Metacritic rules.
Yep.
But the recommendation was solid. You were happy with the choice?
Yeah, no, I was happy with the choice. And like I said, it was one that I've had on my list of something to watch for a while. It's just a matter of pulling the trigger and diving in.
Nice. What is your final word on Call of the Night? Give us your elevator pitch or closing sentence as far as your overall thoughts on Call of the Night before we close this podcast down.
I think I summed it up at the start. Probably the best is that the initial reaction is stunning. And referring to the city and the night and everything, and the animation quality of the backdrop and the city becoming its own character. I do really feel like that probably sums this series up probably the best. Again, like I felt, and I've mentioned it already, that after watching the whole series, that there is some parts that I find personally that drag. Others might not have that issue, and they'll love it. They'll be glued to the edge of the seat, But yeah, it's one of those ones where I think opening is a banger. It's a great setup episode to start the whole thing. So yeah, if you like romantic comedies with some vampires, give this one a check out.
Yeah, it's much more lighter in tone than something like Twilight, that's for sure. But it's good fun watching. I'm partially jealous that you got to binge it all in one hit, because I was watching the weekly drops on High Dive. So I got my fix on it. I think it was dropping on a Saturday. So I'd watch it on a Saturday after recording THG, and then have to wait till the following week to see what was going on.
No,
so
I smashed it all out in a single weekend, so it was good.
Yeah. But Call of the Night, available on High Dive for listeners in Australia and the majority of the world. I think Asian-based listeners, there's a few other hubs you can track that down to. I watched it in dub on on release, but then I did catch some of the subs as well just to see the contrast. The voice work I really enjoyed. I thought it was pretty good overall. Same? Did you catch the sub or the dub?
I did just catch the dub. I think that's just a bit more my nature. I find, and I usually lean on the dub side of things, and it's not because I don't have a dislike of subs. I don't like reading subtitles or anything. I actually leave all the subtitles on, even with English-speaking shows. It's more along the lines of, if I'm just reading the subtitles, I'm concentrating so hard, and it just makes me tired. And that's literally what it is. And usually when I'm watching anime, I'm usually lying down as well already, so it just puts me straight to sleep. So
we do not want that.
no. So I like to enjoy the anime, not fall asleep. So I like watching it. With dubs on, and it usually just keeps me a little bit more invested. And if I get distracted by something else, I can still at least hear what's going on.
That's fair.
And
That's fair.
I usually end up rewinding to catch if I do miss something by accident anyway.
But listeners, that gives you a bit of a temperature check on Call of the Night, available on High Dive, 13 episodes, ready for consumption right now. Benny and myself both recommend and rate it very highly. Me a little bit higher than Benny, who came in at around a 7. I'm sitting at around an 8 out of 10 if you want to use that type of grading scale. But it's certainly well worth your time. It's very heartwarming. It's very funny. There's a little bit of violence and a little bit of light horror in there too, leaning into some of the vampire ways. But overall, Call of the Night, dropping in 2022, is justifiably one of the best new anime of the year. But you can find us as a whole at We Are 8-Bit. You can find Benny at BenMCJ on them socials. You can find me at Brendan 8-Bit. Be sure to rate, review, subscribe to this podcast and all the other podcasts you listen to on the regular, because those ratings and reviews help keep the emotional lights on in our hearts. But listeners, whether your anime be subbed, dubbed, or still yet to come, enjoy yourself. Much love to all the sexy waifus out there. See you later.
Watch One Piece.